Hello everyone. Recently I've noticed too many people have been winning games far too easily. So, by popular demand, and by popular demand I mean by me, I have decided to create a quick and easy tutorial on how to get worse. In only like 5 or 6 steps. I don't know, I haven't finished the script yet. And guess what? I'm giving it away absolutely free. So please, pay attention. Step number 1. Go in blind. Make sure not to do any research before you play a game. You see, a lot of top players will use a lot of resources to help them get the edge on their opponents. For example, they'll go to GodsUnchained to see what's being played the most, and in response they can adjust their decks accordingly for the best counter. At the very least, they'll go to GU decks and check what's being played by the people at the top, and pick their deck accordingly. But remember, our goal is to suck, and for that we need to be at the biggest disadvantage possible. So just pick a bunch of random cards and queue into ranked mode immediately. Oh, and speaking of picking out a deck, that brings us to step number 2. Step number 2, create a disorganized deck. Now, make sure not to commit to any one archetype or synergy when you build a deck. For example, if you're playing nature, make sure to put in a lot of non-wild creatures that don't synergize with any of your buffs. Also, to keep in line with being disorganized, make sure not to learn about the differences between each type of deck. And by that I mean aggro, mid-range, control, and combo. And if you do accidentally learn about this information, make sure to deliberately not commit to any one type. I personally recommend building a deck on how cool the card art looks, rather than practicality and synergy. See? It looks cool, right? But moving on. Step number 3, don't learn about any game mechanics. In order to further increase our chances of losing, we must keep ourselves as ignorant as possible. There's quite a bit of content out there that helps understand these weird things like order of operation and what effects come first. You know, like burn or regen. Or even something like this video with Copper explaining how the mulligan system works. Also, I strongly discourage experimenting with Soulless, Afterlife, and Obliterate, because if you do, you might accidentally find out that Obliterate prevents Afterlife effects. But there are only 3 cards that straight up obliterate creatures, and a card like Yukos in the Eclipse doesn't obliterate right away, so the Afterlives still trigger. It's a 2-step process really. First, it's a spell that gives Soulless, then it's a spell that gives -1 strength, -1 health. That's why all the afterlives such as ramp, damage, draw, and heal still trigger. The only exceptions for afterlives that don't trigger are afterlives that summon itself. And that's something like Thanacris, That Which Aches, and Osiris. But remember, don't look into any of this. The less you know, the better. Or is it worse? Well, it's better to get worse. Step number 4, don't take your time / play impulsively. You see, this game requires quite a bit of thinking. Unless you play Nubians. Anyway, when you're in a game, do you stop and think about what your opponent might be holding? Do you try to play around any counters and play as safe as possible? No. You go ahead and play like a caveman. You see card, you play card. And you play it immediately with no hesitation and no thinking. And then you get countered and you rage quit and you close the game. Do you go over recording of your game and see if you made any misplays? Do you ask yourself if you mulligan correctly? Did you trade correctly? Did you play correctly? No, you follow my example by going to the balance channel on Discord and immediately start complaining about how your worst matchup is broken. Simple. Step number 5. Don't watch any good players play. Now, whatever you do, don't watch the top players play. By browsing Twitch and watching elite players like H-Pain, you might accidentally learn a thing or two about strategy or how to properly pilot a deck and use it to its full potential. And we can't be having any of that. Why would you want to learn how to play a Jalmar combo or control magic deck? You might accidentally start winning games. So, to prevent this, I recommend watching content like Outlaw Unchained. That way you can learn how to successfully D-rank from Mythic to Rusted Bronze. Yeah, you're welcome. Step number 6. Play your weekend ranked on Fridays. You see, all the big fish come out on Fridays and part of Saturday. So in order to face the strongest competition possible, make sure to play during those times. It's fairly well known that everyone is tryharding on Friday. But on Sunday, when everybody already has their games in, the memes come out. In fact, there has been quite the history of players holding the top spot for Friday and Saturday. Then all of a sudden, Sunday night rolls around and someone else gets the same number of wins, but due to weaker competition, are able to get higher MMR. Therefore, the tiebreak goes to them, and thus they are the weekend ranked winners. So, play on Friday. So hopefully with these quick and easy steps, everyone can now get worse together. And full disclosure, the GU team has a bounty board for videos that content creators can make for reward. So I checked the bounty board and saw this demand for a 5 common mistakes video to get worse, or something like that. Or at least that's what I think it said. I didn't really read what it said before I started making the video. So anyway, I'm gonna submit this video and we'll see how it does. Wait a minute. What does that say? 5 common mistakes new players make. Oh, thank you so much for watching. Normally, this is the part where I thank people for helping me make videos, but seeing as this was a video to get worse, I'm proud to say I can make this video by myself. Let's see, I think that's it. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, right. New videos every week. Later.